Happy Record Store Day, everybody. Hope you got out to your store and hope that they had everything that was on your list and that you had a good experience with it. So, in this strange year where we get 4 record store days, this being the third of the 4, I went out with, for this particular drop, I had 2 releases that I really wanted. Wasn't a whole lot else that I was all that interested in, but I got one of them. Didn't get the other one, at least not initially, and I got a couple of surprises too. So we'll start off with I went to Forever Young Records in Irving, Texas. There was a little bit of a line, but it went pretty quick, and I was between a couple of guys about my age, and we got to talking about concerts that we went to see back in the good old days of the late 70s and in the 80s and all. So that was enjoyable. The line moved pretty quick, and I went through the line, and the first thing that I wanted, and they had 20 or so copies, so that was no problem, was the Cheap Trick Live in 1977 album, and I was happy to get that. I'm not sure how this differs that much from the Budokan album, the one that made them famous in the United States, but Cheap Trick's always a good thing to have. It's one of my favorite American bands, so I'm looking forward to hearing this. Haven't had a chance to play it yet because I just got home about half an hour ago or so. But there's the front cover of that. You've got a gatefold with some liner notes, which I haven't had a chance to read yet. The back cover just has song listings and some information. And there's no posters or anything, but there's the hype sticker that was on the wrapper that I took off and stuck on the record sleeve. Just regular black vinyl on both albums on the Epic label. And your second album in there is that one. So looks pretty much the same, just the second album of the bunch. The other thing I wanted to get, I was really looking forward to, because I don't remember how many they made on the Cheap Trick album, but I wanted the new Flesh Tones album, The Night of the Werewolf, and they only printed up like 1,300 copies of those, so I wasn't very hopeful going in, but I did hear, and that's the reason I went to Forever Young instead of going to my record stores in Fort Worth. I heard that they got at least a copy or 2 in, but unfortunately by the time I got there, they opened at 8 this morning, and I got there at about a little after 8, about 8:15, and by the time I went through the line, someone had already grabbed all the copies. Unfortunately, I ended up going to Doc's Records in Fort Worth and Panther City Records also in Fort Worth. Neither of those had it either, but I did what I really don't like to do, but I went ahead and looked on eBay just to see if any were for sale, and of course they were, and I found a copy at Forever Young. They were charging $19.98 for it. I did find a copy on eBay though for $27 plus $3 postage, a little bit more, but I went ahead and grabbed that. I want to buy it now, so that should be here, I don't know, pretty soon I hope. But they're just a neat American rock and roll band. They've been around since late 70s, days of punk and new wave, that type of band. Been around forever. Good band that didn't get the credit they deserve or the recognition they deserve. Worth checking out if you haven't checked them out. And there's already several videos, 2 or 3 videos from their new album up on YouTube. So I checked out some of the songs and they sound really good. So I'm looking forward to hearing the rest of that album when it comes. And this copy, the Record Store Day copy, is on splatter vinyl. Like I said, I don't know if there's going to be a regular vinyl release just through their website or regular record stores or not. I know it'll be out on CD. But so those were the 2. I got one that I wanted. I got Cheap Trick. Didn't get the Flesh Tones, although I ultimately ended up getting it when I got home, ordered it. So the surprise, and there's 2 of them. One's not Record Store Day related. One was that Forever Young had several albums and records, 45s, that were out from the previous 2 Record Store Day drops. They had a ton of the McCartney albums, for instance, and they had a ton of the Instant Karma singles, and quite a few other things. There was one, and I don't remember if this was from the first or the second drop back in September and August, but I went, and this was one that I wanted, and they were out of it. But today they had a couple of copies of it, and so I was able to get Green is Blue, the first Al Green album. I think it's his first album, but it's the 50th anniversary reissue of his album, which again I think is his first. Most of these, I think all of the songs on here are cover versions. There is My Girl, The Letter, Tomorrow's Dream, Get Back by the Beatles, and he does a good cover of that, good version of that. Summertime, the old Gershwin tune. So I do love Al Green, one of the great soul singers of all time, and it's good heavy duty cardboard record sleeve. I always like that. And here is the Hap sticker, which I was not able to get off the cellophane, so I don't know if I'll keep that or just toss it. And I did not know, but this comes on colored vinyl. Didn't know until I opened it, but there is the record label, and when you take the vinyl out of the sleeve, Green is Blue, I guess. So that's a nice split colored vinyl. So Al Green album and Cheap Trick album to look forward to listening to later today. And then I will also look forward to listening to the Flesh Tones record when that shows up in the post. The other thing, when I was checking out at the record store, behind the counter they have a wall full of just all sorts of box sets and rare records back behind the counter there, the high dollar stuff, more or less, even though this wasn't really high dollar. But I saw a CD size. It was Help, and right next to it was A Hard Day's Night, and they were the American record sleeves, not the British. And I wasn't sure what they were, if they were CDs or if they were DVD copies of the movie or what exactly they were. So I asked the guy when I was checking out, and he showed them to me. But behind them they had a copy of Rubber Soul, Help, A Hard Day's Night, and then they also had this, and I'm not exactly, it's got a little obi strip there, and there's the it says on there that this came out in 2014 up here, and I do remember them putting out the box sets, Capitol, of the CDs, the American sort of Capitol hybrid Frankenstein Beatle albums. I don't know if this is part of that or not, but it says that it is Beatles' second album, entire album presented both in stereo and mono. And here's the CD. So I don't know if it just plays the album through once in stereo and then plays again in mono, because that's all that's listed is just the regular track listing. Short album anyway, it's only about 22 minutes or so. Oh, and then you get, it came in this plastic sleeve, and you get an inner sleeve, just like I guess what came with the original copies of the Beatles' second album if you bought them back in '64, advertising other Capitol albums. So that's a pretty neat touch. And yeah, I don't know if this is American or Japanese or whatever, but it comes with a little obi strip. It's just a neat thing to have. This is I love this album. This is not only my favorite Beatles album, this is arguably my favorite album of all time, most likely. So just something about it I've always loved, and it'll be fun to have it on CD finally. I can play it in the car, and so that's a neat little thing to pick up. It has nothing to do with Record Store Day, just something that I happened to see and of course spent some money on. But it was only 15 bucks, so it wasn't ridiculously priced. So that is it for Record Store Day. I looked at the list quickly the other day, just sort of scanned through it for the Black Friday version, this coming up in day after Thanksgiving here, and really didn't see anything of interest. There is a Charlie Brown 45, the Vince Guaraldi music for Charlie Brown Christmas, which they had several years ago. They did one of those for Linus and Lucy, a cool little picture sleeve on colored vinyl. And this time it's Christmas Time Is Here. Same thing, picture sleeve on colored vinyl. I may pick that up just to have it. Of course, I've got the soundtrack. That's one of my favorite Christmas albums and one of my favorite Christmas specials every year to watch. Not too happy that it's not going to be shown on network TV this year, that it's going to be on Apple TV. But I'll get the 45 maybe just to have as a neat little thing to have around the house, neat little collector's item. The only other thing I saw on the list, there's a George Harrison 45 for My Sweet Lord. I'm not really interested in represses. That's why I didn't get the Beatles Strawberry Fields 45 a few years ago. Why I didn't get the McCartney album or the Instant Karma single, because if I want them, I'll just track down the originals on those. Not too interested in just a fake repress of them. But there is a Low Straight Jackets 45. I think it's a 45. It might be an album, but it's them. They're a great sort of surf guitar band that's been around for quite a while, and they're doing an album of, or maybe a 45, I'm not sure, of one side Beatles, the other side Rolling Stones songs. So that sounds like it may be fun, but I didn't see anything else of real interest on the Black Friday list. But hope for you that there's some things that you want and you're able to get them. Okay, so it's been a fun and exciting week, music-wise, Beatle-wise, and just music-wise in general. I ordered the 50th anniversary deluxe box set for Lola by the Kinks, which comes out sometime in early December. I forget the date. So I'm looking forward to that. The same company that put out the deluxe box set for Arthur last year and the deluxe for Village Green Preservation Society in 2018, and they did a bang up job on both of those sets. So I'm really looking forward to that. Lola by the Kinks, of course. Everybody knows Lola, but it's a great album, not a bad song on it, and it's one of the best albums in 1970. So I'm looking forward to the box set with whatever extras and this however many CDs and a DVD or two in there, and a book and all sorts of stuff like that, and also a special 45 with a picture sleeve that I got because I ordered early enough. So a lot of Kinks goodies coming here in December. The other big thing that you might have heard about is that Paul McCartney is coming out with a new album, and we're finally getting McCartney III. So that's been a whole lot of fun this last week or two. I remember if it was a week or a couple of weeks ago that we first started seeing where if you went to Spotify or iTunes or MoonPie or whatever, all those things, I don't do streaming, so I'm not really up on those things, but if you went to one of those sites and you played a Paul McCartney song, that it would come up with a picture of either the McCartney album or the McCartney II album, but it had a die on it with 3 dots. So that was sort of a clue that McCartney III might just be afoot. And it was not confirmed yet, it was rumored, but as the week went by, it became more and more that this is really going to happen. Then I remember a few days ago, or earlier this week, or late last week, I don't remember exactly, that people, some of the fellow Beatle fans, friends of mine on Facebook, were posting pictures of this pouch of dice where all the sides of the dice were 3 dots, except one side said McCartney. And I thought, man, that's really cool. I wonder how do you get those, and was wanting to get one of those. I didn't want to go on eBay and pay ridiculous money for it. Didn't know how they got it. But then on Tuesday at work, postman shows up, or the UPS guy, I guess it was, shows up with this. I didn't know what it was, just mail. Came from Capitol Music Group, and opened the bag, and sure enough, got my little McCartney pouch, got the 3 dice, and so yeah, I was very happy to get that. I had no idea how Paul or Capitol Records or whoever knew who I was or knew my address, but later on, people were saying on Twitter and Facebook that if you had bought something off Paul McCartney's website, that this was sent out to certain, I don't know, everybody that bought something or certain people that bought something. Certainly I bought quite a few things off of his website, so I guess that's how that happened. And if it went to everybody, that's great. If it only went to a handful of people, then I'm certainly glad that I was one of the ones that got chosen. So very cool thing, very cool little promo item for the new album. I remember a few years ago when New came out, they had those little cubes that lit up and said New. I never managed to get one of those, but I'm very happy to get my McCartney III set of dice. So then, after the dice episode, there was talk that McCartney III was going to come out this year. No exact date yet, but that an announcement would be coming soon. I didn't know if that meant, a week from now or next month or whatever. The talk was that it would be announced on Friday, and then the talk was it would be announced on Wednesday, I think. And so that's because I was at work Wednesday. I took off Thursday, and I thought about it, and I thought to check, and then I saw a YouTube video and I apologize because I can't remember who it was from. It wasn't Matthew Street. It might have been, but might have been Norman. I don't remember. Anyway, that said, hey, it's confirmed McCartney III is a go. It is going to happen. It's coming out in December, and that you can go to Amazon and see it and pre-order it. So I went to Amazon and I saw where you can pre-order the vinyl. It's the regular black vinyl. And I think you can pre-order the CD too. I don't recall, but I was looking at the black vinyl and I was about to hit pre-order, and then I thought, oh, hey, wait a minute, because remember with Egypt Station where we had so many different variations and editions, and so maybe I better check Paul's website and see if there's any like special editions or colored vinyl or whatever. And boy, were there ever. It's I think it finally we've all figured out that there were 8 colored vinyl editions, and then the regular black vinyl edition and the regular CD edition to be coming out. So I went and looked at one place. There's a white vinyl, and I ordered that. That was you went from Paul's website, which took you to the Record Store Day website, which listed various independent record stores. In mine, it listed like five stores in Texas. So I don't know if someone's in California, maybe it lists stores in there, or New York or Illinois or wherever you are. But I ended up ordering the white vinyl edition from Waterloo Records in Austin. And then I saw that there was because it had the cover, which has the white die with the 3 dots, there was a Third Man Records special edition on red vinyl, and that's Jack White of the White Stripes record label. So, but it had a red die on the cover. I thought, well, that looks cool. So I went over there. It sold out. The one I really liked was there was a Target special edition CD with a green die on the cover, and I didn't know at first. I figured out a little bit later that there was also a vinyl edition on green vinyl with the green die on the cover. I thought that was my favorite one of the bunch, so I went over and tried to order that. Sold out. And I figured, well, I'll go ahead and get the CD, because I remember with Egypt Station that if you got the Target CD, you got a couple of extra tracks. This didn't say anything about extra tracks or not, so who knows if there are going to be extra on that or not. But I went ahead and tried to order the CD, and I got about almost to the place your order part, and it came up, and those rat bastards wanted like $6 postage to mail a 1-ounce CD. And I thought, now the hell with this, I'll just go ahead, because what I did with Egypt Station was I pre-ordered the vinyl records, the trifold record thing is what I got, and then later I got the big suitcase deal. But on the CD, I knew that Target was going to have a special couple of bonus track CD, And I just waited till the day that Egypt Station came out, and I went to Target, stopped at Target on the way home from work. There they were, and I picked it up. So that's what I think I'll do with the Target CD, is just wait till December 11th and pick it up that day. Whether the one with the green die cover is just a special beforehand pre-order deal, and when you get to the store it's going to be the white die, I don't know. I'd prefer the green, but I'm not really that interested on the CD. I just want the CD to listen to, and I would much rather have had the green vinyl, green dye record, but that was not to be. So then, yeah, and then things just went crazy. Then there's another third man pressing that's on yellow and black vinyl, kind of looks like gray vinyl. I call it the Bumblebee. There were only 333 of those. By the time I heard of that, didn't run. I mean, I went over there online, and of course they were long gone. Those things probably sold out in 2 minutes or less. There was a blue vinyl version. I'll look that up, and that's through HMV, but that's over in England, and they only ship to the UK, so you can't get them over here anyway, really. And then there was someone was talking about possibly an orange vinyl, which didn't really pan out. Someone was talking about a purple vinyl, which turned out to be a pink vinyl, which was through something called Bradbury Comics, which I'd never heard of, but I thought, well, okay, and I Google Bradbury Comics McCartney III, get to the site. By this time, since everything's sold out, I figure, this is going to be sold out, because I see that it's only 1,300 copies, so surely it's sold out. And I almost clicked off of it, and I scanned down to the buy it button, and I thought, well, that's going to say sold out, and I saw buy it, and it took me like half a second to register that, hey, buy it now. So I hit buy it now, and I'm typing my information in there, because I'm afraid that by the time I type my address and everything in there that it'll sell out. But I got that. So that is what I've got on McCartney III right now. I've got the white vinyl, and I've got the pink or the bubblegum vinyl from whatever Bradbury Comics is. Got those two coming. I don't know if the white vinyls are still available or not, but all the rest were sold out. And I checked back to the Bradbury site a couple hours later, and the pink vinyl was sold out, so I was lucky to get that. I think the white vinyl were still around a day or so later. Last time I checked, I'm not sure if they're still available. So, but it was, yeah. So the other thing about McCartney III, which I'm really excited about, because I love the McCartney album. McCartney II is one of my probably third or fourth favorite Paul solo album, especially the iteration from the archive set that came out several years ago, where he put in all the stuff, because it was originally conceived as a double album, so you got all the extra stuff. And I just really like the down hominess of both those albums, of Paul playing everything and just do it himself, and sort of experimental and having fun, but also some great music with it. So, and also the accidental nature of all three of them is kind of interesting, because you think McCartney, had the Beatles not been having their troubles and in the middle of breaking up, that album may never have happened. McCartney 2 was Wings was in flux and Future up in the air, and so originally that was just McCartney, Paul at home, just messing around with his new synthesizer and goofing off and having fun and making some music for his own amusement. I don't think he intended to release that commercially originally, but then either he realized it was worth releasing, or someone heard it and thought it was pretty good, and so that's how that ended up happening. And McCartney 3, from the story I've heard so far, there's a couple of interviews with Paul up on YouTube and Facebook that I haven't had a chance to watch yet, but stories I've heard so far is that Paul wasn't planning on making an album this year, but with the COVID situation and being in quarantine or stuck at home or whatever he's been doing this year, he just naturally started making music, and that's how this happened. So I'm really looking forward to it. It's funny that all this excitement over an album that none of us have heard yet, it's not coming out for a couple of months, but I'm still looking forward to it. I'm hoping that it's going to be some good rock and pop, and I'm hoping it's going to be some wacky, fun out there experimental stuff on par with Coming Up and Temporary Secretaries, Check My Machine, Mr. H. Adam, those type of things, which I really love. So I am really looking forward to it. The other thing I saw when I was checking that night when I got home and I was online was the usual grumbles about, oh, this is ridiculous with all these colored vinyl variations and blah blah blah. And people were saying they were already going for ridiculous money, even though they've only been announced that day and haven't even been released. So I checked over on eBay just out of curiosity, and I saw the Bumblebee that sold for $5,000. I saw a couple since then that have sold in like the $4,000 range. I saw the red Third Man and the Coke bottle green iteration. That's another one I wanted to get but didn't get, and that was through Spotify, I believe. Saw some of those selling for like the $400-500 range, and there were several people online that were just sort of griping about that and how that's silly and ridiculous. And on that question, I'm on the fence because I can see both sides of it. That, yeah, it is. I mean, to sit there and buy the same album in 3 or 4 or 8 or whatever editions, I can see where that's, and cash grab from the record label, sure. Definitely a cash grab from the eBayers who got hold of those and are selling them. But at the same time, if you don't want the album, you're not interested in a new McCartney album at this point, nobody's going to make you buy it. If you want it, the black vinyl and the regular CDs are going to be readily available. They'll print up as many as they can sell, so nobody's going to have any problem getting it who just wants to hear the music. So as far as the colored vinyl, I mean, some people, it's fun. I've got 2 of them. If they would have been available, I would have bought probably 4 or 5 of them. And silly, maybe, but if it makes people who are into that stuff, myself included, happy, let people have their happiness. And if it doesn't interest you, just don't pay attention to it, I guess. But and the other thing was, I mean, it was just such a fun day. It was because you had the announcement a week or 2 ago, then you had the bag of dice, then you had the this is really going to happen and the announcement is coming soon. Then you had just the bombshell of the announcement on Wednesday that was up for pre-order. It's coming December 11th. You had all the colored vinyl iterations, variations, and I was at work that day. I was working on stories and stuff, but I was also going back and forth between Facebook and Twitter and Paul's site and YouTube, and because everybody was trying to figure out at that point how many different color vinyls are there, and are there any other special editions, or what's all being released. And it just had just a day of fun and excitement if you're a Paul or a Beatle fan. So I was really getting into it and really looking forward to McCartney III, like I said. The other thing about McCartney III that interests me, because I love the McCartney II, like I said, and I never really thought about a McCartney III happening one way or the other, but Breakfast with the Beatles, Chris Carter show, which is on the Beatles channel on XM radio, and used to be, before the Beatles channel existed years ago, it used to be on Little Steven's Underground Garage. There's some kind of contract dispute or something, I don't remember what details, but so Breakfast with the Beatles became Chris Carter's British Invasion show, which is still on Little Steven. And then Breakfast with the Beatles went, anyway, that's, who cares about all that. But about 10 years ago, Breakfast with the Beatles, back around 2009, 2011, I don't remember exactly, but Jackie DeShannon, the old singer, does the Beatle news updates on the Breakfast with the Beatles shows. And so back around 2009 or whenever, during one of the Beatle news updates, she said that it's reported or rumored that Paul is at work on McCartney III. And like I said, this is about 10 years ago, so that perked my ears up and I was excited. Thought, wow, that'd be really cool. Well, nothing came of it, and this was well before Egypt Station. I think this was before New came out. So I don't know if that might have been an unfounded rumor and there was nothing to it, or maybe it was a project that he started 10, 11 years ago and lost interest in. Maybe some of those songs got reworked and wound up on New or even Egypt Station. I don't know. But I was also thinking maybe he did record some things for a McCartney III a decade or so ago, and maybe some of the what is going to be McCartney III here in a couple of months, maybe some of those songs are back from a decade or so, or maybe they're all new songs that he wrote this year because he was stuck at home because of the coronavirus. Maybe it's a mix of them. We don't really know yet, but I'm excited to find out. So that kind of interests me. The other thing that was really neat is that we're getting a Christmas Beatle product with the new Paul album, and that's always fun. And I know that, of course, I wasn't old enough to be paying attention when the Beatles were happening, but a lot of their albums with the Beatles came out November 22nd. Of course, that didn't mean anything to Americans just yet, but it was big fun for the kids in England. Magical Mystery Tour was a Christmas release. White Album, November 22nd of 1968. The same Christmas release. Rubber Soul was, I think, October, November release. Plastic Ono Band came out around Christmas time. So, and I'm sure there's other Beatle and/or solo Beatle albums that came out around Christmas. And then, of course, with the Beatles, if you were in the fan club, you got the annual Christmas record, the Christmas Message. So it's just a lot of fun to have some Beatles stuff to look forward at Christmas. This is coming out December 11th. Kinks set is coming out, I want to say like the 14th or something, December something, right around that time. Record store day stuff to listen to. So a lot of good music and stuff to look forward to. And so yeah, I don't really care with the colored vinyl. I'm happy to get my 2 colored vinyls that I got, and I'll probably pick up the CD. May or may not pick up the regular black vinyl, but really looking forward to the album. And yes, it is more about the music than anything. And I know Paul's 78. I know his voice is not what it used to be. I'm hoping this isn't a bunch of auto-tune stuff. Hoping for the best. But I mean, at this point, it's just good to have another album from Paul, good or bad. I mean, obviously, I hope good, but you know, because it's going to come a point, unfortunately, pretty soon when he's not going to be able to make any more albums, and even worse than that, when he's, you know, not going to be around. So I'm enjoying all the excitement. I remember the build up and excitement over Egypt Station a couple of years ago. That was a lot of fun. This has the hallmarks of that, and just being that McCartney 1 and McCartney 2 are 2 albums that I really love. There seems to be something special about a McCartney 3, whatever it turns out to be, and I'm very stoked and pumped up about it. Had a good record store day. I even managed to get the one record that wasn't there, so I did end up getting everything that I wanted and something else with the bonus of the Al Green album that I wasn't able to get back in September or August. So hope everyone has a good record store day. Hope everyone's having fun with the McCartney album hype and fun and excitement, and looking forward to that. Hope everyone's looking forward to the Kinks 50th anniversary of Lola. It's a great album. If you've never heard it, it's definitely worth getting and checking out. And hope some people put up some more some record store day pickups, because like I said, I didn't see any of them when I just checked YouTube here before I made this video, but maybe they're still out looking for records. So have a good weekend, and